Hi, I'm Jamie Watkins, Dubai's subleasing king, and I'm with Juwaad Beg. And today we'll be talking about real estate, business, and much, much more. Juwaad, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Juwaad, it's been a week since our last podcast, and I've been thinking so many questions I didn't get to ask you the last time. Today, my first questions for you is, when you look at the landscape now with the peace deals falling apart, not to go into politics, but that affects us as businessmen who are into different sorts of businesses as well as real estate. Right now, what would you say to the investor and secondly, the end user who is looking to purchase at the moment?
So, we should follow the example of the government of the UAE. The UAE government doesn't only invest in the UAE. The UAE government is one of the largest investors overseas. Huge investments in Europe, America, all over the world, and the most charitable of countries in the world. So why do they do that? To diversify against issues in their own land, to diversify from oil and gas. So they invest heavily into technology, into AI, into crypto, into cybersecurity, into infrastructure, all of these things, and they invest heavily overseas. So they're covered. They're covering all the bases. So we as investors, even though we're much smaller in size, should also not put all our eggs in one basket. That's number one. But let's talk about real estate in the UAE. Now, Fitch has been saying for a while that they expect a correction in 2026. That was before there was any regional conflict. And they expected a 20% correction because there's a lot of supply coming into the market, approximately 200,000-300,000 units coming into the market. Now, even though the population is growing, it's not the majority of the population that are able to afford to buy these properties, because majority of the people living here are earning below 5,000 dirhams a month. So population is growing, but is it the population that can afford to buy those investments or even afford to live in them?
I have to interject for 1 second because I've been curious about this myself. Why do developers continue to build properties knowing that the demand may not be there a few years down the line?
Because they're not selling just locally. They're selling internationally. 70% of the purchases from abroad, right? Mm-hmm. And the people who are bringing their money here are having quite harsh conditions where they are. Number one, those governments that they are living under are taxing them very highly, as much as 50, 60%. Wow. So if they lose 30%, it's still a better deal here, right? And there's no income tax. They can work towards a golden residency, maybe move here in 3-4 years if everything goes well, right? So people are buying as a way of protecting themselves from where they currently are. So if you're in Europe, US, Canada, India, 50% tax on your investments. Here you're not getting that.
Right.
50% income tax, 30% capital gains tax, 40% inheritance tax. Right. They tax you to breathe.
Right.
Here there's very little tax and safety. And most of those people living abroad can see the difference between their own governments and the government of the UAE, which is very balanced and fair and is not, looking to take a huge amount of your wealth just for bringing it here. Right. And in the long term, since over the last 25, 30 years, the UAE has shown great management, has shown continuous growth, even through the cycles of correction and crashes, and is still showing that. And you can see that they are investing in their own country, in their own people, in the safety of the people, in the business environment of the people, in the law and the courts for the people. You can be somebody on a very low income and open a case against someone who's harmed you, oppressed you, or hurt you for a very small amount of money and get justice. And justice is the cornerstone of barakah.
It's important.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It's one of the reasons I moved here, because I was living in a particular place where I felt like it was unjust, even for an American.
Yeah.
You know, and so I left and came to the UAE, and that's been my mantra since I've been here. That I've been to court here as a businessman. You'll go to court for sure, and I found that they've been very just in the decisions they've made. Now, we'll go back to what you were saying about Dubai having businesses all over the world and diversifying their portfolio.
UAE
Yeah.
has the largest sovereign wealth fund that invests overseas.
Wow. And are there some particular investments that are well known that maybe the public don't know, that the UAE probably owns this? I mean, UAE does own this.
I don't have specific details,
Right.
but I was listening to somebody recently saying that they have just done some deals in South America for oil and gas distribution and ports, and so they're diversifying, even doing oil and gas away from their own oil and gas. So it shows that they're a global player in most aspects, and there's a lot of investment going into the US for tech, for AI, and they're also investing here heavily on AI. They see what's good, they adopt it, they invest with the best, and then they bring it home too.
You know what?
And they also got the best football team. It just shows in everything that they do, in the football team, in all the deals that they do. It's well thought out.
Right.
It's well planned. It's not
just a
rushed,
purchase.
right?
Yeah.
And they go to the top.
That's right.
And they keep good relations with all of their partners.
Here's what surprises me the most, that I find the Western countries are actually giving particular countries, it's particularly the UAE, a lot of respect for the way that they do business. 20 years ago, I didn't see that. But now I do see that respect being given, that the Western countries do notice the business acumen of those handling business here in the UAE.
Look, why are we here? Because we're given respect.
Right.
We're given freedom. Nobody harms us. In England, if I get stopped by the police and I'm a law-abiding citizen, I'm a little bit worried.
Right.
Here, I've never been stopped by the police. The only time the police stopped was when I broke down in the middle of a road, and they stopped, and then they helped push my car to the side so I wasn't in any danger. Right. That was the interaction I had.
And you can imagine the stories I had to tell.
And in the UK, I got stopped once. They jumped the car, 4 or 5 of them, grabbed me, pulled me out, and what was it for? Absolutely nothing. I was let go.
And you can imagine my stories. Just being a Black American. I mean, it's crazy. And the problem is that you have PTSD. Mm-hmm. It's traumatic when those type of things happen, and then you come here. Even when I'm driving, and I'll be driving and I'll turn off to go pray in the masjid, and the police officer turns off to go pray with me.
Subhanallah.
Gives me salams when he gets out of the car. I give him salams, and I'm going into the masjid. Yeah. Right? There's no type of brutality about to happen.
I've lived in Saudi. I've lived in a lot of Muslim countries. I don't think there's much better than here in terms of how we're treated.
UAE is my safe haven. Mm. It is my safe haven. I don't know where I would go if I left the UAE. It gives me everything that I desire as a Muslim first, and in terms of the worldly things that I want, I'm capable. Everyone, it seems like, is capable of getting to that level where they can live a pretty good life in this dunya, here in the UAE. Everyone has a chance. I really feel that way. And we've heard stories, but I don't think I would ever leave the UAE.
I mean, it's always preferential to live in Makkah and Medina.
Yeah, for sure. I have to mention that. Yes, definitely. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, but what we're talking about here is why people keep coming here, keep investing here. And it's not just Muslims, it's everybody.
That's right. That's right.
Because it's the way that they manage themselves and the way that they, treat people that come here and the way they invest into their country. And that's why people keep buying.
That's the truth. I put a poster out not too long ago about purchasing companies here. Anyone who has a business and they want to sell it, they can contact me. And the majority of the people who got it, well, I would say it was 50-50. 50% Muslims, 50% non-Muslims. You have to appreciate that type of camaraderie when you're here.
Well, Muslim or not Muslim, you all humans want the same thing.
That's
right? They want opportunity. They want safety. They want the same things. They don't want to be oppressed. And there's a lot of oppression happening in the world.
That's right. Regardless.
Even in the West.
No, for sure. I mean, since I could remember, I was oppressed in my country. I'm not saying I don't love my country. I do love it. But there are certain things that are so heavy that I can't remain there. The oppression got to a point where I didn't feel safe.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not just oppression from the government, it's oppression amongst the people.
That's right.
And some places have just become very aggressive and very right-wing, and the streets are not safe. Do you really want to live with your guard up for your business, for your money, for your personal well-being, or for the well-being of your children?
That's right.
So people will naturally move towards locations and governments that protect all of those things. Now, that doesn't mean that right now, with all that's going on, that the UAE is the best place to invest when it comes to real estate. If we talk about real estate, there's two types of real estate. There's one where you're buying to live, which is a lifestyle purchase, which you can do at any time, anywhere, because that's for your personal use. And then there's the investment. And with the investment, there's two types of purchase. There's the off-plan, which is under construction, or there's the ready property. Now, traditionally, the off-plan should be cheaper than the ready. Why? Because the ready, when you buy it, immediately you can rent it, you're making a return. The off-plan, you have to wait 3 years. Your money's at risk. They may deliver late, they may not deliver, market might crash. You're not getting any return until it is delivered. So for those reasons, it should be cheaper than the ready. What's happened over the last few years is that the off-plan is now, on average, even till today, 31% more expensive than the ready. Why? Because demand was so much, developers took advantage, right? And the whole hype of there being this, boom and lack of supply allowed the developers and the market to go more expensive on the off-plan by over 30% than the ready, which is wrong, right? Which means that somebody's not doing what's right, because the asset that you buy today that gives you immediate return is the real value.
Right.
That's today's market, right? So what we found is that it was going the other way. And that kept happening because the properties that were being sold off-plan were not being delivered yet. So the real impact of all those properties being delivered, and will they be absorbed? So is there really a supply and demand shortage? Was just theory.
Is there, why I'll ask this, why is off-plan so enticing? Because people get off-plan fever.
Mostly they do that because of the ability to pay slowly. A lot of people may not have the full money, right? But they got FOMO, fear of missing out.
Right.
Everybody's investing in Dubai. My cousin bought something last month. He flipped it 3 months later and he doubled his money. And my other friend bought 3. He only had $1 million. He spent 3. He sold 2. The profit from that and paid for the first one. I got it. All of that kind of,
Hype.
sentiment, hype. I got to get in. Right? I don't have the full money, but I can pay the down payment and maybe the next payment, and then I'll get out. And then it's all those brokers that are feeding into that, because they're making 5, 6, 7, 8%, and they're getting rich, right? Selling dreams that are not based on real data.
Right.
So all of that builds up, and there's a frenzy.
What is your sentiment at the moment?
So look, we are in a new normal, new world. All the corrections of the past, the 2008, the 2013-14, the COVID, etc., they were different. COVID affected the whole world. 2008 affected the whole world. They were different. Now, this one is very specific to this region. And the actors that are involved are at conflict regarding their position in what plays out. And there's serious violence and aggression. And it's not going to end overnight. This is probably going to drag out in a new normal for years to come.
Well, how will that affect investment and...
Okay, let's look at how it affects us, right? It's clear to see that we love this country. We love being here. We have no intention of leaving, right? Yet, still, I'm diversifying away from the UAE. I'm looking to invest in Indonesia, in Bali, in Lombok. Why? Because just like the UAE government diversifies, invests overseas, I want safety if something does happen where I don't have to stay if I don't want to, and I can leave, and I've got another stream of cash flow and revenue happening far from this region. And I'm somebody who doesn't want to leave. I'm somebody who doesn't want to invest anywhere else.
It's 2 of us.
Right? So we who love this country and love to be here and invest here are now in our senior years thinking about diversifying and are going to diversify.
Right.
So imagine all those people who are not as committed as us to this country, and I don't think many are, right? Because we made hijrah, we left where we were raised to come here,
Right.
to go straight.
With the intention of staying
Right,
forever.
yeah, with the intention of dying here in the region. So how do you think the rest of the people are thinking now? All those that were planning on selling their businesses and their monies and bringing their children here, or those that came and then they started to see things, they're going to be in a much more skeptical place. So as an institutional investor, if I was an institutional investor, which means I'm investing $50 million to $500 million, I would need to see 12 to 24 months of no involvement of the UAE in a regional war. No missiles landing here, no problems at all. 12 to 24 months, I would need to see that stability.
I have a question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Rule 101 in business, and with us being businessmen, we don't often follow this, but we're often told in business school never to invest in a country or in a region that is destabilized. What's your comment to that?
Hey, look, you can argue both ways, right? I don't know who it was, but it was a famous person, Rothschild or Rockefeller, who said that we don't buy at all-time highs, which is what we've been seeing in the recent past. We buy when there's blood in the streets. Be greedy when they're fearful.
Wow, that's right.
Right, and
That's
be
my
scared when they're greedy.
That's
So
right.
over the last few years, was a time where real money was leaving the markets and allowing the small guys to come and pick up positions at the peak. And now we could argue is a good time to invest, because now people are scared and leaving. So imagine now, for the last 2 years, 3 years, people have been buying at all-time highs off plan, right? Which they bought at 30%, 40% more than what the real market is worth. Now we've come back to a point where people are only investing real money in real ready stock. So those people who've got these positions, and there's hundreds of thousands of these, who realize that the price that they bought at is not the price that they will be able to sell at, and the rent that they expected has dropped to half, so they're not even going to get those yields that they were sold, right? These guys are thinking, should we stay in the investment or should we exit before the market exits us, which means they can't afford to continue. They lose 30, 40, 50, 60% of what they put in. So those are good deals. Those are good deals. If you're interested in bringing money here now to invest, instead of going and buying direct from a developer at a full market price, which is still 30% above ready stock in a similar area, I would come in and I would go and talk to those people who want to get out and they're happy to take a haircut, a discount of 30, 40, 50% even, then lose all of their money. You can buy deals today at a huge discount. So
a lot of distressed deals out
there's a lot of this. I wouldn't call it distress. I would say that, because I don't like to use the word distress along with the UAE, right? UAE is not a distressed economy. It's still one of the richest, most well-balanced portfolios overall in the world as far as countries are concerned, and the management is solid. So I don't like to use the word distress. I would say that there are deals because there's a correction, and there's always a correction at the end of a bull run. And now is a good time to buy if you're looking for real value. And if you focus on areas where we know that even if things are not going as well as they should, there's still a demand. Like JVC, like Business Bay, like Dubai Hills, like Creek, mature communities where people still who are working here, living here, will live.
Right.
And you can get them at a discount today.
Yeah, and I don't purchase properties. I'm actually totally against buying properties for particular reasons. But I bought properties during this time, and the reason why I bought them is because I knew the market was at a point. I bought the property for what I thought it was worth, and I bought a property. One property I bought was downtown. And I said, I can't go wrong downtown. I can't go wrong. And depending on the area downtown, what have you, yes. But it was a place right next to Dubai Mall. And I said, I have to purchase this property. Hook or crook, I'm going to purchase it. And it was at what you corrected me on, distressed deal, right? The owner wanted to get rid of it because he felt as though he wouldn't be able to continue with the payments. And then what started happening in the region or whatever, he just got scared and wanted to get out. And I always say that I am there when the market is ready to correct itself. I try to stay liquid for these type of times because I know I'm going to get businesses as well as properties at prices I'll never get it, of course, in a decent market.
True, but also you got to remember you're not you're a business person, and when you do business in your business, you could make 1,000% because you're doing business, right? The upside there is no upside limit. People who buy properties are looking for low returns compared to what you can make in business.
Right.
So they're looking for 5% rental yield, 5% capital growth. They're happy with a 10% per year. Over 10 years, they double their money. They're looking for a safe investment, and they're looking for safe yield, safe returns. Whereas you'll be thinking, should I put $1 million in a 3-bed downtown, or should I put $1 million in my business? Right? If I put it in a 3-bed downtown, it will double over 10 years. I'll have $2 million. But I put it in my business, I might double it in 3 months, 6 months. So you're not really the retail property investor type, because you can make more money doing your businesses, which is why the likes of us wouldn't really do that until we get to that point in our lives where we're like, okay, we want the asset to work for us now. We're happy with 10%. We have to deploy cash. We don't really want to be operating it ourselves anymore.
Right. And getting into this, you're diversifying.
Yeah.
You're really diversifying.
Yeah.
And you have this project that is unbelievable in Bali.
Yeah.
And I want to know more about it myself.
Right. So when the last year, the 12-day war happened, I wasn't expecting that. And I always knew it could happen, but I wasn't expecting it. And then it happened just like that. And I felt vulnerable. So I decided at that point, I have to create diversification far from the Middle East, far from this geopolitical region. And it has to be a Muslim country because I made hijrah. I'm not going back to a non-Muslim country. It has to be a place, when you have a product, let's say you make pancakes. What do you need as a person who provides a product? You need a hungry audience. Right? You could have the best pancake in the world, but you're in the middle of the forest. Nobody's going to buy it from you. Or you could be in Times Square, right? And if you got the best one, you still won't sell. But if you got an average one, but you're in the middle of a hungry audience, you're going to sell out. So for me, who is the hungry audience? The hungry audience at the end for a property is the person who's going to rent it, because that's the revenue that comes in from that particular product. So I had to look at what Muslim country has very high tourism and internal demand, and is safe. It's far from this region. Taxation isn't that bad, right? And I would be happy living there if I had to for long periods of time, and it would be safe for my country. So one of the islands that I identified was in Jakarta, and it's in Indonesia, and it's called Lombok. It's got 1,000 mosques on that island, and it's like a tropical paradise. And I was like, I could live there. But right next door to Lombok is where I could do business, right? Which is Bali. Now, Bali isn't, it's not predominantly Muslim, but it's in a Muslim country governed by the Muslims, and it has 7 million international tourists yearly on a little island, and then it has 12 million local Indonesian tourists. It has 19 million people passing through it as tourists every year.
Customers.
19 million.
Yeah,
that's also almost like 1.5 million a month, right? They need housing. So I thought, if I'm going to now diversify, build, rent, sell property, I need it in a place where there's the audience, and they've got the audience. Taxation is favourable. It's 10%. 10% capital gains, 10% income tax, right? And you could set up a company in the UAE, Ras Al Khaimah, ICC, offshore vehicle, buy your assets in Indonesia through that company, and then repatriate the money here without having to pay large amounts of tax if you needed to. So I was like, I need something somewhere for myself, for my business, where there's a hungry audience, safe Muslim country, and there's still opportunity there. So that's why I went to Indonesia. I went to Jakarta, I went to Bali, and it's a vibrant place. Now, they're not as advanced as the UAE at all, but that means we see opportunity, right? You're from New York, I'm from London. We came from mature cities. By the time we were born, they were already mature.
Right.
And we know what a mature city looks like. Every inch of a city gets filled up. There is no land left. Right? Eventually, it all fills up. Eventually, all of Dubai will fill up. So when we came to the UAE, we knew what the future looked like, and we knew where the opportunities were because we came from mature cities.
Right.
So now going to Bali, we can see where that city is going.
So
what's coming.
So in Bali right now, tell me more about the project. How many these are townhouses that's being built, right?
Predominantly the tourists that come are from Australia, from Europe, from India, from China, and they want villas with pools. As small as 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, those are what's in demand.
Right.
In the 3 main tourist locations like Canggu, Ubud, and Uluwatu. Those are like the main 3 areas. And they want to come and stay in those. And that's the demand. So we will do deals there to build, deliver, manage, and for our clients and for ourselves. And the yields are between 12 to 20%, depending on the quality and location. Annually, rental yield.
12 to 20%.
12 to 20%.
Unheard of.
No, it's happening there. It's the highest yielding real estate market in the world. However,
Indonesia.
in Bali.
Bali.
However, they're mostly not freehold. They're mostly leasehold for 25, 30 years, but then you can buy the lease for another 25, 30 years. But mathematically, it works for us as investors.
Right.
Because if you're making, let's say, average of 15%, you got your money back in 7, 8 years. Your money's out. Then you can invest it again and double it. And now you've got 2. Then you can invest it again and double it. And now you've got 3, right? So you can 5, 6x your money. So we're not so concerned about owning the asset forever.
Right.
We're concerned about getting a high ROI on our money. And you could use it if you wanted. And the rest of the time, we would manage and make sure that they're getting those yields.
So your company is going to also manage the
We're going to
properties
manage it
as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
We want to manage it to make sure we get the best yields for our investors.
In good hands. It's
Yeah.
in good hands.
So we have opportunities for people who just want to buy it and make those kind of yields. And we have opportunities for investors who want to come with us into the project. Now, those people who come with us into the project as investors, they make far more.
Let's say I put in $1 million into the project. What could I expect out of the project? Just as an investor, what can I expect? I'm not buying a property. I just want to invest with the company and see.
Obviously, there's no guarantees, right? We don't know if we're going to live tomorrow. So there is no guarantees. But if we look at the data and the numbers and the raw numbers and the play, over a period of 2 years, we could double your money.
Double that $1 million.
Yeah.
That's difficult to do anywhere else
Yeah.
at the moment. Excellent. And how many villas are being built?
So
in
we
this
will
project?
continue, right? We'll start with 10,
Mm-hmm.
then we'll do 20, then we'll do 50, then we'll do 100.
Right.
It's continuous. It's a Muslim country. We go, we stay. We won't stop doing business in the UAE, but now we'll have 2 bases.
Right. And Bali is that place right now.
Bali is the place we will transact and do business, and we'll probably live next door in Lombok, where there's 1,000 masjids.
Right. And would you ever? Is it possible to do business also in Lombok?
Yeah, we will do business in Lombok, but it's a much slower pace. It's like the difference between doing business in Dubai and doing business in Sharjah or Ras Al Khaimah. Market it has less volume, which is good. They have, they're trying to keep more control. They don't want. It's a good market.
So you have the Bali market now. Let's come back to the UAE. Is it possible to invest I know you have a few companies here in the UAE. Is it possible to invest in those companies and get some type of decent yield?
Yes, it is.
Annually?
Yes, it is.
And at the moment, based on previous data, what are those returns looking like if someone invests?
I mean, 15 to 20% per annum.
15 to 20% on average.
Yeah.
Wow. That's not bad. You can't get that in many places. And this is predominantly investing in real estate as well.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So we have a property management business. We did do subleasing for a while, but the numbers were not working.
Hey, don't talk about subleasing.
We can't all specialize. It takes effort and to be able to do that. So what we do is we manage properties for other people,
right?
And we take a share. So we have very little downside. If the market goes up, market goes down,
right?
We take a share,
right?
And now
and you're not incurring a lot of debt.
There's no debt because we're not paying the rents. We're not agreeing to pay those rents. The landlord gets a percentage of the rental income that we bring. So we take no liability. We just perform the best possible to make sure the landlord makes the best possible return. And we make a percentage. So that business is going to grow whether the market goes up, down or sideways, because those properties are coming and they're here already and they need a rental income for the investors, the landlords, to pay their service charges and to pay their, the costs of having those properties. And that's going to get tighter because now, the population isn't growing as fast. A lot of properties are coming into the market. So we're going to be in more demand than ever before. And we won't just be taking anybody's property. We'll only be taking properties that we feel that we can really, get a return for them on. So that's not everybody. And that business will grow, and that business will also grow for us in Bali, because as we build, we will manage, and also we will manage for others who are already there. Right. So that's one of our businesses, and the other businesses we advise our investors on what to buy and what to sell and what to rent. So that's also a business where we're providing a service.
In this market right now, what would you advise your clients to invest in, even if it's not real estate?
So you need to invest in communities that are mature. If it's off plan, you shouldn't be spending more than what a ready property costs. Maybe a little bit more because you're getting time to pay, but not more than 7%. It's currently at 30%. So if I'm buying off plan, I would buy in a master community like Dubai Hills, number one developer, not saturated, no oversupply, lots of greenery, will always give a decent rental demand and will probably go up over the longer period, rather than buying with a smaller developer that's not a master developer, single tower, or an area far away from the real demand locations, and paying more than what it's actually worth. So I would focus on those kind of investments as a criteria. If people want to know, they can reach out to us. And if they're buying ready, I'm buying ready in areas where the demand is, where the rentals are still quite stable and close to where people work and predominantly want to live. So its market has to move away from speculation and the speculators, and it's going to move to mature decisions. And mature decisions are going to be people who know that I'm going to buy this at a fair price and it's going to give me a yield of 7-8%.
Right.
And it's a safe investment. And if I need to liquidate, it's not going to be difficult to sell. So, if people want advice on this is what we do.
So, okay, you would advise a newcomer to the market or an investor to invest in those areas that are mature.
Yeah.
And they have good rental yield and appreciation.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of supply coming soon into those locations.
Do you find here sometimes that there are properties that don't appreciate, like, let's say, agents have told these
that's going to happen
new
across
owners
the board now. It's happening across the board.
With being promised appreciation,
being
and
promised appreciation,
yield.
and being promised certain yields. It's not going to happen.
Right. And the current situation doesn't help it.
No, but there will be winners still if they make the right decisions.
And I can personally say this, that I've gone to Jawad's page, his Instagram page, and if you look at it, Juwaad is giving great advice to newbies to this market and also people who are experienced in the market. He talks to them, he gives them advice on whether they should sell, whether they should keep it, whether their properties will appreciate, and what type of rental yield they can be looking for. He has a mountain of knowledge when it comes to what investors and end users should do. I advise you all to go to his page and look at his page and contact him if you're interested in purchasing a property, or you have a property and it needs to be managed, or you want to purchase a property. He'll tell you the best places and the amounts you should pay for a property. Am I right?
That's right. So, for example, I had an investor come to me recently from India, and he said, I've got 800,000 dirhams. I want to buy a ready property that rents immediately. So I found him a property that was 12.5% below market price. It was, most of those properties in that location were selling for 900. I found him one for 800. Then he said, oh no, I don't really have the full 800. I can only put down 400 now, and the rest I need some time. I was like, okay, let's see what we can do for that. And like I said, my criteria is major developer, master community, no supply is limited, and we get it at a price that is close to ready market or lower. So we found him a unit. He increased his budget because he could pay slowly to 1.2 million. So we found him a 1-bedroom in Dubai Hills on the secondary off-plan market. The current market price is 2,400 dirhams per square foot. If you go and buy it, they're ready, 23, 24. We found him an off-plan unit for 2,000 dirham per square foot. So 300 dirham per square foot below market. And Imar, master community, no huge supply coming, limited. And he can buy it and pay for it over 2 years or 3 years. And his yield will be still at what it should be because he's bought it at discount. Now, those are the kind of deals that you can pick up today because there's people wanting to exit, even from those good locations, because they don't have the liquidity, because they overspent or they've lost confidence and they need to get out of good assets. So we will help find our investors good assets in good locations at below market prices where the yields will still be secure and they're not getting saturated with hundreds of thousands of units coming in that location.
Right. So investors can come to you, and users can come and speak to you. Investors who want to invest in a whole company and not just real estate units, they can come to speak to you.
So we also have portfolio owners. So yesterday I met with a client. He has 125 million in his portfolio. He's got a small building, he's got a plot, he's got 15 units in JVC, some in Dubai Creek, some here. And I was like, what do you want? How can I help you? He said, we've got this portfolio. We want to sell everything. I said, okay. And then what do you want to do? He goes, then I want to buy again. I was like, what is your objective? He goes, well, our objective is dynamic. That's our pot. We want to constantly be trading. So then he gave me a list of 10 towers in JVC. He said, I will buy all the 1-beds. My price that I'm willing to pay is 800. I said, then what do you want me to do with it afterwards? He goes, then sell it for 9 and keep moving. I should always have 15, 20 units in JVC that I'm buying at 8, selling at 9. I want a distressed deal in Dubai Creek at 1.3, 1-bedroom. I'll buy it at 1.3, I'll sell it for 1.5. I want this here, I want this here. And these people, I was like, so what's your view of the UAE? He goes, UAE's home. UAE government is solid. You know, we will be here 5, 10, 20, 30 years from now. And they're not from the UAE, they're from abroad.
Right.
And they're running a big business here, which is nothing to do with real estate. This is just their real estate pot, right? They run a huge supplements business, supply the world from here. And they're like, you know, Who cares about the Straits of Hormuz? We'll get around that. We're already building a second pipeline. You know, they have a very long positive
Right.
attitude, and they got
That's our attitude.
right, and they've
also.
got 150 million in the real estate portfolio, and they were like, Joe, just find me one beds in these buildings, find me one beds in Dubai Creek with this price, sell this building for me, and then give me the money to build a building on this plot that we already own. We want to constantly be trading. So they're making money in this economy.
Right.
They're trading.
But I think most of us are making money in the economy. I think that
A lot of real estate investors are losing right now. So we can help them
there's a reason
and
for that,
advise
though,
them.
Joanne.
Yeah.
They don't have the experience or the understanding that you and I have of this market. I am totally not afraid of what's going on in the market right now. Especially being from Brooklyn, it's more dangerous than being in Dubai. you know? Yeah. So on that part, I'm totally still focused on doing business, continuing with subleasing and doing what I'm doing. I don't feel, it's summer now, right? So occupancies are low and what have you. I feel like it's just summer, and it might be a longer summer than I'm expecting.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. But I know things will turn around eventually. They will gradually get better. And my humble estimate was 12 months before I'm like, okay, we're getting there. You know, and probably 2 years before I'm back up to being able to maintain 100% occupancy over all buildings, you know. Mm-hmm. But at the moment, it's a process. But I have been able to adjust to the process. I think other people who are not in the market, and a lot of the people I see speaking to you when I looked at your page and you talking to all of these investors and end users, they don't have that knowledge, you know, and that's the majority. That's the crazy part. That's the majority of people, because your whole page is filled with you giving information and advising people on their properties. And one of the things I wanted to praise you for, Allahumma barak, is that this is Juwaad's page, Instagram page, is the first page I have seen of its sort where he's giving out information for free to end users and investors. And I mean, his information is spot on. I have no problems with what he was talking about. He was giving them information to, and I know Juwaad, he's a friend of mine, and I stayed on that page for about 30 minutes looking at you conversate with these end users. And if I didn't know you, I would have stolen your idea and used it. You know, that's how impressed I was with it. Allahumma barak, you know, because I think that's what people are looking for. I don't want to be in a webinar with a group of people and you telling me about what the market is like. Yeah. I got a one-on-one conversation with you and you're telling me specifically about my building. Yeah. You know, and you're going to get information from the land department, information from you where you're pounding the pavement and looking, you're out there looking, unlike most people who will call themselves real estate experts. And this is not to knock anyone, but they're not out there. You know,
I mean, we're still learning, right? I'm still learning, you know, but what we need to understand is that anybody who wants to be good at what they do has to focus at it for a long period of time. And then what happens is that you just recognize patterns, right? So I'm not anything special. I've just been doing the same thing for a very long period of time, looking at the same market constantly. So I just started to recognize the patterns and I can give my advice based on that. And the other reason we do our marketing the way we do is people can only judge you on your free stuff, right? They can't judge you on your paid stuff until they pay. Right. So how are you going to market yourself and allow people to make a judgment on you? You have to give them free stuff and they can judge you on that. And then maybe when they're in need, they'll reach out to you.
Well, I see it like this, you know, Juwaad, me knowing how humble you are, right? How humble about it. Nobody is doing what you're doing at the moment. And I'm not praising you because you're a friend of mine or we're trying to sell anything. I'm just saying this is the truth. I don't look at anyone else's, and this is the truth. I probably once in every 6 months, I'll look at someone's page on Instagram. I'm so focused on what I do, I don't look at anybody else and what they're doing. I stayed on this page for 30 minutes because I felt like Juwaad was a breath of fresh air because it wasn't an agent. It was almost like an agent giving out free information, even though you're not an agent, just giving out free information on what you can do, where you should buy. This is not something that you come by often in the market.
I mean, look, unfortunately, in all markets, there are biases, right?
Right.
Everybody has a bias, even governments. Everybody wants you to follow the narrative that in one way, shape or form benefits them, right? So most agents in the market will tell you the market's great, it's still solid, it's come back, off-plan is still booming, it's all great. That will be the narrative because they still want you to spend so they can earn. But we as Muslims, 3 conditions to be able to taste Iman. Number 1, hate to return to the days of ignorance like you'd hate to be thrown in the fire. Number 1 is actually love Allah and His Messenger more than you love yourself. Number 2, hate to go back to the ignorance like you'd hate to be thrown in the fire. And the last one is love for your brother what you love for yourself. Right? And actually, if we advise based on honesty and truth and what's good for them, that's really the best marketing you can do because you feel good about what you're delivering and they're going to want to work with you anyway.
You articulated that very well. That I wish I had said that, but that's what I felt when I looked at your page. And me being a businessman, I said this could have been a private call that he did and charged $100 for this private call, but he was doing it for free, which is why I'm saying it's unheard of in the market. I've had people, I'm considered an influencer. I've had people tell me they're going to charge me to talk to them. And I've never charged anyone to talk to me, ever, But I was saying to myself, like, why don't I give you some information, you give me some information, and then we leave the table like we've received something, but no one had to come out of their pocket. Because me personally, I'm never going to pay anyone for information that I can probably get if I just read up on it or go through the right channels to get it. But most people don't know what I or but to give the information up like that, I'll say it again, it's interesting and it's impressive because you go in, there's not one question I've ever heard you not answer when people are asking you questions about their property, and then you'll tell them tomorrow I'll come back to you with all the information on what your property is worth, what it'll be worth in the future, and what the rental yield will be. And so that's a good thing. And the best thing is, since I don't like agents very much, right, at all, it's the right agent who's not an agent giving up information. So I'm happy they're not getting it.
Well, I mean, we weren't where we are today 20 years ago. And we won't begrudge people who haven't got the experience and they're just trying to make a living. And the business world is aggressive.
Also, there's an ethos always, though, Juwaad, and you have to always have ethics when you're doing business. Even if they want to eat and they're inexperienced at it, you still have to have ethics. And I think it's not just the UAE. In a lot of markets where they're up and coming, I feel that the people aren't getting exactly what they deserve. And they have to deal with inexperienced agents who sell them dreams.
I mean, in today's world, it's very easy to stand out. It's really easy. And the only thing you need to do is master your skill, talk from knowledge, and be honest and transparent. And you immediately rise to the top.
Right. I agree.
If you don't know, don't make it up.
Right.
Go find out and come back.
Right. And the transparency and honesty may be the hardest thing.
Yeah. But it's the easiest thing, actually.
That's it for us. My brother, Juwaad Beg, the subleasing king, Jamie Watkins. We're signing off, and we'll be speaking to you next week. Stay tuned. Stay equipped for some more jewels coming soon.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa
Wa alaikum
barakatuh.
assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah khair.